You know why it's you know why it seems like I only got good stuff to set?
Why?
It's because they didn't have a boat.
True.
Yeah, the boats are bad.
Shadow Isles didn't get a boat. I mean, Terror of the Tide kind of looks like a boat, but it's not a boat in the
Yeah,
boat sense.
but Shadow House is good. Got good stuff. Yeah, so all the boat regions got shafted.
Hello and welcome back to the video. Today we are going to talk about the Noxian cards. And I'm here with my friend GrandJ.
Hey guys, you might remember me from my previous video, Ionia.
That's right. We're not recording these one after the other. No, not
No,
happening.
yeah,
We have a
cool.
lot of cards to get through here. We're talking about Noxus. And the
Yeah,
first one is going to be Ravenous Flock. This is a 1-cost fast spell. It is deal 4 to a unit if it is damaged or stunned.
seems pretty good. Like yeah, it's like a Noxian guillotine that doesn't come back but costs 1. Four damage is super legit, especially at 1 cost. It's really strong.
Yeah.
As it's not only just the damage guys, it's also stun guys as well. So yeah, so Noxus, a lot of Noxus decks plays the two cost spider, that's free 2 that stuns a guy. Yeah, so it's
3 cost.
free cost, yeah. Yeah, comes in, stun a dude, and then yeah, you just like Ravenous Flock it, kill it.
A lot of them run House Spider as well, which doesn't stun a guy, but it can like block some big boys, and then you can just like
Yeah,
surprise
just
Flock.
chip it, yeah. So like, yeah, so Ravenous Flock creates some super good trades. Yeah, if you have the setups and stuff. So yeah, so Ravenous Flock seems really good in my opinion. Obviously like more of a mid-range or control card. But being able to deal 4 damage for 1 is just like really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, it's like if you have any sort of deck that can like set up like damage like that easily, it's just like easy free off. Yeah,
Yasuo runs it. Yasuo runs it as a 3 of. Because like if you don't have Yasuo on the board, you don't like that's pretty much all of your removal outside of like combat.
yeah,
So like using this after Reckoner's on the board or after Sentry, all really easy ways to enable it. And you're spending 1 to kill a guy. And there's not a lot of spells that can juice your guy up
like
but-
4 blocks. Yeah.
yeah.
So yes, seems really good, and the fact that it chooses stun guys as well, it just like adds a lot more of like relevance to it. So yeah, good card. He's also the card that you get off Swain with extra Swains, right?
Oh, let me check. Swain's card is... Yep, that's Swain's
Yeah.
card.
Yeah,
You
no.
are correct.
Seems good. Yeah. Next card, Imperial Demolitionist. 2 cost 2 free. On play, deal 1 damage to an ally to deal 2 damage to the enemy Nexus. On paper, it doesn't seem fantastic, but like there's actually a couple of ways to sort of like deal with Noxus. So yeah, so obviously giving it to a tough guy means it's just like straight 2 damage. But yeah, also Noxus has all the Crimson guys. It's all the guys where you get value from like dealing damage to themselves and stuff. So yeah, this synergizes really well of that. Noxus aggro is running the 2 cost 2 free that if it receives damage, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So it's actually like it's a lot of damage when you think about it. Just playing the other chick, the other chick, and then playing this chick on top. And yeah, dealing 1 damage to your guy to deal 4 damage to your opponent. That's a big amount of nuke to the face while also having bodies on the field. So yeah, so this card has a lot of flexibility in my opinion in terms of its usefulness.
I'm seeing her obviously in like burn decks. She's automatic 3 of in burn decks. And Crimson Disciple was already an automatic 3 of in a lot of burn decks. She's obviously seeing play in the Crimson archetypes, and also gets a lot of play with barrels, because she can hit the skill on a barrel, and it won't.
Oh, okay.
And it will still trigger the extra damage from the barrel going to the Nexus.
That is interesting. Okay.
So if you use the 2 cost more powder from Bilgewater, summon 2 barrels on like turn 2, and then play her on turn 3, you're hitting them for 4 damage with barrels on the board. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely seems strong. Definitely seems more of a like aggro type card or like combo oriented card. Not really so much of a control type card. But yeah, it just like has a lot of like very relevant combo potential. And yeah, she's seeing play. Next card, Death's Hand. 3 cost, fast spell, deal damage to an enemy unit and 1 damage to a Nexus. This one I think is a little bit overcosted, although like I can see the relevance of it. It's basically to allow you to help deal damage on certain turns for like the Swain and Sejuani stuff. Also helps trigger off Plunder as well. Although it's a little bit expensive if you want to use it to trigger Plunder, in my opinion.
It's a lot better with barrels. If you've got barrels on the board, like 1 barrel is 3 to a guy, 2 to the Nexus. And a lot of the times with barrels, you're trying to trigger, like in my barrel deck anyway, I'm trying to trigger off a lot of Plunder effects. So it comes in pretty handy. Having it at fast speed, a lot of the times you're just trying to like pop off the barrels really fast. People pull your barrels all the time and try and kill them. And then you're just like, ooh, surprise, 3 damage to you and 2 to your Nexus. So with a barrel on the board, assuming they don't have a way to mess up your barrel, you've got a really valuable card on your hand. Otherwise, without that, it's kind of like a more expensive Mystic Shot.
Yeah. Like I definitely feel that it seems hard to really justify this card unless you're able to play barrels, in my opinion. Yeah, it just seems a little bit weak. Even as like a mid-range or controlling sort of Noxus deck, I don't think Death's Hand is what you would need. Like there are probably better control cards for Noxus. Like I do know, like Noxus has Reckoning, which is surprisingly good. Yeah, Reckoning's the one where it kills all the guys with 4 or less attack. Yeah. So Death's Hand, I think Death's Hand's issue is the fact that it's in Noxus. If it was in another region, it probably would be more relevant or more playable. Yeah, if it was Bilgewater, it'd see a lot more play. But in Noxus, I don't think it's got the right support. It's technically just more there as insurances to help you get Swain. But it seems like Noxus already has a ton of ways to deal direct damage as well, like based off their dudes. So I don't think Death's Hand's really required. Yeah. Next card, Iron Ballista. like I saw this card and I was like, oh yeah, people were talking about Badger Bear. This is like Badger Bear, man. 3 cost 4 free with Overwhelm. Like, you guys remember Solitary Monk? People were like, yeah, a whole bunch of decks were playing Solitary Monk. For 3 cost 4 free. Elusive. And Iron Ballista's got the same stats. Except he doesn't force you to bounce all your other shit. So yeah, you can have more than 1 Iron Ballista, man. The stats of this guy is really good, you know? It's like, even though free defense means it does sometimes trade down into 2s, but it's got Overwhelm, man. You can like punch through spiders. Goddamn spiders. Yeah. And if you juice it up, and then you overwhelm guys, man. Like, I've been playing standalone with Iron Ballista and Badger Bears. Dude, standaloning Iron Ballista is so good. Like, if you're not playing against you're
taking Overwhelm as your keyword over Quick Attack or Elusive.
Yeah.
Like, sounds like it can be just as oppressive as the other 2.
Yeah, because it's like Elusive basically means, your opponent can't block it, so you're like jamming all that damage to face. But with Overwhelm, even if your opponent can block it, you're still jamming a shit ton of damage into their face. Yeah. And at rookie levels, people forget about Overwhelm, so you randomly win a lot of games because people like they're blocking and they're like, oh, how did I lose? And so, oh yeah, Overwhelm.
Well, like what I used to do sometimes is I didn't realize that a dude still punches through if it has Overwhelm and your guy like died.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that back when. So I used to try and put my guy in front of like Darius and then kill it so Darius couldn't attack. And I was like, well, what the fuck? Darius attacked anyway. This game's bugged.
Yeah. So yeah, Iron Ballista is legit. Like, yeah, not expedition quality, man. It's like these sort of like high value raw stat cards, man. That's all you need. Like that's all you need. Like I swear to grind up the gold. You don't even need good cards. You just need solid, dependable cards. And Iron Ballista is very solid, very dependable. Yeah. Like yeah, on my free to play account, these guys are carrying hard. These guys are Badger Bears, man.
Yikes.
Yeah. So if you don't want anything fancy, you just send in the Iron Ballista, and then just like pump them up, man. Yeah. Next card, Noxian Fervor, 3 costs fast spell. Deal 3 to an ally, and then to deal 3 to anything. This deals a lot of damage, but I've gimped it so many times. Like, yeah, I've gimped it so many times that I don't think it's good.
I am using this as a reactive spell. So I'm not using this to like remove dudes, because I play it with barrels as well. I run this. I run Death's Hand with barrels. I don't run Flock with barrels, but I run Fervor and Death's Hand with barrels. And the instinct is to like put down a couple of barrels, pay 3, neg your barrel, and then neg a dude on the board 5 damage, which is a lot of damage. But like they just like hit your barrel, right? And you've spent 3 to like blow up a barrel. And then if they do neg your barrel, a lot of the time if people are going to pop my barrels, I'll just throw in a warning shot because they can't react to that. Mm-hmm. It's like, haha, you just wasted your spell trying to remove a barrel, and I've got burst speed like 2 damage to your Nexus now. So I'm using Fervor very reactively. So people will like cast a spell to try and remove one of my dudes, and then I'm like, that's fine, you can have my dude, but he's taking your dude down with it. Or something like that. Or, again, with barrels, reactively.
Yes. So in a way, it's kind of like Glimpse, or like kind of like Black Spear with different timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means that it's kind of, which makes it a lot, it makes it a lot more situational. I guess like it is possible, like if your opponent is like tapped out, that you, to use this without feeling too insecure. Yeah, but it seems like a couple of hoops. It seems like some unnecessary hoops that you don't really want to jump through, in my opinion, when Ravenous Flock exists. So yeah, I can see playing it, but I don't like it. It's a play it because you need the removal, not play it because you want this as removal.
Yeah. I don't mind the card, but I do see the niche-ness of this card. And it's certainly not a card you always want to be packing 3 of if you're running it. I don't think there are a lot of scenarios where you run 3 of this card.
I could definitely see it in like a Shadow Isles build, where you want to be killing off those Curse Keepers and the Undying guys that get bigger and shit. Yeah, in which case it's like, yeah, your opponent has to really think about how they want to gimp your Noxian Fervor. It's like, oh yeah, I can kill my Curse Keeper to deal 3 to you, or they're like, oh yeah, I can just like counter it by shooting your guy.
Yeah, there have been some scenarios as well. where I've been able to use this to like punch out 3 damage to the Nexus and close out the game.
Yeah.
So
still, like, Noxus has plenty of ways to do that. It seems. Yeah. If aggro decks are running Decimate, man. Decimate.
Well, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But yeah, like, yeah, okay. Like, I can see it in like Shadow Ozzy sort of stuff, where it is relevant for you to kill your own stuff. Not a fan, but like I can see it being played in certain decks. But yeah. Next card, City Breaker, 4 cost, 0/5, round start, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. This is woefully underpowered. Woefully underpowered. Like, it's only deal 1 damage to the enemy Nexus. It doesn't even like deal damage to like dudes as well. On the upside, it can attack if you can pump this guy up. Yeah, like, I don't see why it had to be 0 attack though. Like, that Piltover Zappy cannon that like copies dudes, he's still got 2 attack. City Breaker should have at least like 1 or 2 attack, man.
I'm running it in my Gangplank deck as a 2-of.
Why?
Because it's one way to help level up Gangplank, and it's also another way to auto trigger plunder effects. So if you have him on the board on turn 8, you can tap out on turn 7 and then start the next round and play Riptide Rex without needing a warning shot. But it's only relevant in the slow matchups.
Yeah.
So you can't like, if someone's going to be running you down pretty quick, you've got like, it's just a dead card in hand. And Mogwai also runs it in his Gangplank Swain deck. But again, he only uses it in slow matchups.
Yeah, you're paying so much for combo enabling, and it's not even like a great way to enable your combos. It's such a bad way to enable combos, but oh man, you really got to be questioning your deck when you're considering playing City Breaker, even for the slow matchups.
I don't hate it. I don't love having it, but I've found it useful. And I think I've said it before, but like when we were talking about Freljord, like, the deal damage to the Nexus in 5 different rounds is a really difficult condition to make. I think it's easier for Sejuani than it is for Gangplank with her resources, because I'm really struggling getting Gangplank leveled a lot of the time. But the games I have City Breaker down, I can normally get him leveled.
Yeah, because your opponent is letting you play City Breaker.
It's not that bad, my god.
Okay, all right.
It's like I said, you can't play it in fast matchups, but it does its work in the slow ones. But that's it. I'm conceding at its niche playability, but it's not a horrendous unplayable card.
Okay. Next card is Swain. 5 cost, free 6 on Nexus Strike, deal 3 to the enemy Nexus. And when you've done 12 non-combat damage this game, level him up, in which case he becomes 4/7. And when we deal non-combat damage to the enemy Nexus, stun the strongest back row enemy, and then Nexus Strike, deal 3 to all enemies.
I haven't seen him. But I've been watching people play him, and I am shocked how easy it is to flip him.
Yeah, like I haven't seen him flip before, but I have been paying attention on the counters, and like, yeah, it's like it's pretty easy to get it up. I've seen people like get it up to like 7 or 8 pretty quickly.
Because it counts damage you deal to yourself.
Okay.
So it's not just damage you deal to your opponent. So like if you get off a Noxian Fervor, you've stacked him 6 already. He's halfway there. If you've got barrels on the board, you're increasing that even faster. If you're playing Imperial Demolitionist, you're not stacking 2, you're stacking 3.
Yeah.
There are a lot of really good, really easy ways to level up Swain. But I'm not seeing people play him. I haven't run into someone who's played Swain.
Yeah, well, like looking at his flip side, right? So when you deal damage to the enemy next to stun the strongest back row enemy, if your opponent's back row enemy doesn't change, all you're doing is just stunning the same guy, right? Because stunning doesn't change their power. It just So basically, it just allows you to stun one guy every turn if you do some stuff. And then on Nexus Strike, you're dealing free to all your opponents. So he's a guy that your opponent has to block if they don't want their field to get messed up, and he makes it so their strongest guy can't block.
But they do have to. So like they can't run their strongest unit into him, but they do have to run a unit with 3 power or more into him because he does pack fearsome. So they can't like chump block him with a 1/1. The stun effect, I'm not seeing a lot of use out of. Like I'm watching videos, I'm not seeing a lot of people trigger off the stun effect. I'm not even really seeing a lot of people trigger off the deal 3 to all enemies effect. But everyone kind of knows how big of a deal it would be to let through Swain hitting your Nexus. So everyone's trying to find ways to deal with him.
Yeah. So I think the issue with Swain is that he doesn't seem like a big enough payoff. Although on paper his stat line is actually pretty good for 5 cost. Free 6.
He's probably the next character I want to start trying out. But I need to generate some more wildcards and things. Do you know that streamers and big content creators for this game were given like a butt ton of wildcards, champion cards and all them, so they could just like buy the whole set and just like show off all the cards on stream and shit like that?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me considering what I know about Riot Games.
So this is a open letter to Riot Games. Please give us all the cards so we can better talk about them on our podcast and I can enjoy your game more to the fullest.
It's surprisingly easy to grind for cards. Like,
I'm not having any problems or anything, but like, there's a lot of cards I want to get right
now. Yeah. So like with Swain, it's just like I feel the stun thing is just kind of like a random bonus. I think most of the time you're sending him in just to deal the Nexus Strike to deal 3 damage to your opponent's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got something like again, hate to bring it up, if you have City Breaker on the board, it triggers instantly, and then it's kind of like having Minotaur Reckoner on the field, but it's stunning the strongest instead of the weakest unit. And there's reason to believe that you could set that up earlier than you could set up a Reckoner, kind of. Depends if you can get flame. Depends if Swain is flipped by turn. It depends if Swain is flipped by turn 6, because that's when the skill would start taking effect. And I haven't run across it yet, and I haven't watched any videos based on this, but I've seen some people talk about Vladimir Swain, and I don't really like the idea of Vladimir anywhere, because I don't think he's that good. But there are some kids out there that think that's a funny combo.
Vladimir doesn't...
But the problem is, right, Swain stuns the back row enemy.
Yeah.
So if you're running if you're trying to trigger that effect through combat, it's pointless, right? And it's like, cool, like, if you're attacking with 3 dudes and they've got 3 dudes, you're not stunning anything, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of like whatever, right? So I'm not keen on that little interaction between those two. But
To be honest, the stun thing only seems to be relevant for like a stun orientated deck, or just to allow the ravenous flock. Yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah, most of the time you're just going to be aiming for that free damage to face. Trying to building a deck to try to take advantage of both effects seems a little bit too greedy and a little bit too difficult in my opinion. But yeah, Swain, it's like on paper, it's like it's got a lot of good stuff for him, but it's just like kind of awkward to try to push him to his full potential.
Yeah.
So next card is Armored Tusk Rider, 6 cost, 6/5, Overwhelm. He only takes damage from enemy units of 5 or plus 5 or more power. I like cards like this.
I do too.
I'm just thinking about the metagame right now. There's an interesting amount of stuff in which this dicks over, to be honest. Like, yeah, he's Yasuo proof. No, until he flips, okay. Yeah.
If you buff him, he's still Yasuo proof.
Nah, it's like you gotta neg power on your opponent's guys to make him yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, yeah. No, I'm following now.
The thing is that there's not, besides from Frostbite, there's not really stuff that negs opponent's power, eh?
No.
Yeah.
And realistically, if Yasuo is flipped in on the board and you've got this guy on the board, he's probably also got Reckoner on the board. And Reckoner's just going to keep generating value every turn, so if Tusk Rider is the only thing you have on the board, then it will die at the start of turn and you won't have a chance to react to it.
Yeah.
In the Yasuo matchup.
Yeah.
He is a big boy. I mean...
Not big enough, to be honest. If he was just a little bit cheaper... If it was a little bit cheaper, this would be a lot better. It's like those Pokemon. It's like in the Pokemon card game, where there are certain characters that can't be dealt damage by Pokemon EXs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole legit type of Pokemon, class of Pokemon that's used in the metagame.
Wow.
But yeah, this is just like a little bit too expensive to be countering the big boys. Yeah. Yeah, if only he was a little bit cheaper. If only he was a little bit cheaper, he could just be used to brick wall big boys.
He's got the same stats as Treferian Shieldbreaker.
That's
but
the
he comes
guy?
with he's the fearsome 6/5 at 5 cost.
Yeah.
But this guy has the extra little text. So I guess that they decided that was worth an extra point of mana. Like, I just haven't seen him. It's like another one of those things that I really want to try and see how much effect I get out of it.
It's because people just want to see the flashy shit, man. They just want to see the flashy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like... Yeah, nah. Armor Tusk Rider, kind of... His ability is a little bit too niche, and there's, like, kind of not enough ways to get more opponents' dudes into that threshold.
Maybe I'll play him just so I can hear the elephant make the trunk noise.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he makes a trunk noise in game, because I'd be severely disappointed if he didn't.
Yeah, comes in. Toot, toot.
Toot, toot. Okay. Do you want to talk about Glinthorn?
Yeah, alright. Glinthorn, 6 cost, 6/6. On attack, stun all damage enemies. Ooh. That seems surprising. That seems deceptively spicy. Not as spicy as it should be.
It's I I like the idea behind this card, but he's another one of those guys that I never see get played. You can't, like... I think Swim had a Yasuo deck that ran this guy. But if you're doing a deck like that, you're choosing between this guy and the Reckoner. And I feel like a lot of the time you want the Reckoner.
To be honest,
you'd have to build around this guy in a way that makes
to be honest, I don't think this guy is supposed to be put into a Yasuo deck, because Yasuo decks, it feels like they're not able to efficiently spread damage. It seems like this guy seems like a good way to finish opponents off in a deck that can spread damage, right? So if there's any sort of deck that has like cheap AoE damage, then this just like runs over the top. Like if you have some sort of effect like the Misfortune effect, where it's like if your opponent blocks and they get shot by the Misfortune, if you attack the Misfortune first, her effect will stack and then his comes in. So it's just like you deal damage to all the guys, stun them, and then you just punch face. So yeah, I see much more of a finisher in that way.
The problem with the Misfortune pairing is that his trigger comes like when you press OK to like declare an attack.
Okay.
So if there are dudes on the backboard, he'll stun them all if they're damaged.
Yeah.
And then they can't put in blockers. Whereas Misfortune, if you pair him with Misfortune, like you run him in, the effect won't trigger, and then Misfortune will just shoot everyone. So like, I don't mind the Misfortune pairing.
Like,
okay, so you set up Misfortune beforehand.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's got to be Misfortune, but I'm saying that like if there is like just whatever deck that can like easily spread damage to opponents' guys, dropping this guy off just finishes them off, because it basically just means that your opponents can't block. Yeah, so I think that's the value of this guy. He's supposed to be a guy that's supposed to come in and like he's supposed to be a guy that comes in and just makes your opponent like unable to block in, so you can just you can just push through a whole bunch of guys that turn. That's how I see this guy, to be honest. Not with Yasuo.
Yeah, no, I was sort of going down that path as well. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Swim has a deck that runs in with Yasuo, but I don't like. You need I think he's better off in like what you were saying. But yeah, I think he's cool, but he's another one of these guys in Noxus that I never see get played.
Oh no, that's like most big epic cards. Like how many big epic cards do you play? Like most of them don't, and this is just like another big epic card that probably won't see play. I don't know. Like
he's
fine. Yeah.
It just seems like there's a lot of cards in Noxus that I'm just not seeing get a lot of use right now from the new set.
Like I feel he's like Chifria minus. It's just like
minus.
So
yeah,
it's like just like Cyphria is like not a must, but it's like occasionally if you have it in deck, just occasionally if it does line up together, it's good. This is kind of the same. You drop it, if it kind of lines up, it's sometimes good, but you don't need it for your deck. Yeah. Or if you're like starting off, chucking one of these guys is probably fine. Yeah.
I'm hearing you. There are certainly some situations where this guy just outright wins you the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good.
Kind of like the Chifria situation, Yeah. Okay. Next card, Leviathan, the boat, and all these boats are such a waste. 8 cost 5/8. On play, draw a Swain. Round start, deal 1 damage to the enemy Nexus 3 times. Oh man, you think City Breaker is good? This guy is 3 City Breakers for the cost of 2.
Yeah, so I see what they were doing. Obviously, I see what they were doing here. So this triggers Swain's flip effect 3 times, and it draws you a Swain, right? So it's hitting the Nexus 3 times, triggering Swain's stun effect 3 times, so he stuns 3 guys, and then
he stuns the same guy 3 times, doesn't he?
Nah, if it works anything like Reckoner, if you have 2 Reckoners on the board, it doesn't just stun the weakest guy twice. It'll stun the weakest guy, and then the next Minotaur will stun the next weakest guy.
That's another thing to test, like the Swain thing. When it says stun a guy, it means stun the strongest back row guy that isn't stunned yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty confident that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Because that's how Reckoner works right now when it comes to stunning the weakest unit at round start.
That is true, yeah.
And also because Leviathan's drawing you a Swain, it's putting assuming you already have Swain on the board, it's putting a Ravenous Lock in your hand. Which could, I mean, you've got like 3 stunned units on the backboard, but you probably just like win from there anyway, right? Swain's getting like a free hit on the Nexus and deals 3 to all enemies, deals an extra 3 to the Nexus as well. Plus his 4 attack, plus the Leviathan's attack.
Yeah, like ultimately it really depends on like how slow or fast the metagame shifts up to be. But
that's like the case with all the boats, right?
Yeah.
There's like one interesting boat combination that's in the game right now. That's with like Gangplank's boat and Ledros. And it's an OTK. It's pretty much like an OTK. So if you have Gangplank's Dreadway on the board, it doubles all your damage. So if you play Ledros, you just
unless they Ledros damage,
unless they have a deny open, or like, now even if they like burst heal or something, it still just like kills them.
Yeah.
But that's like the only real boat use I'm hearing about right now. Like, I don't hear anything about the Leviathan getting played anywhere with any decks, with any cards. I don't hear about it with Swain. I don't see it with Swain.
The thing is,
but this
like,
just like
most of these cards will not see play until Swim or Mogwai make a deck of them. Like, in the meta game, this, like, the community, I feel like 60 to 70% of the community is just like the Dragon Ball community. It's just like, oh, show me a deck list. Show me a deck list. Hey, do you have a list? Hey, show me a list. What's your list? Your list.
No, I definitely noticed that.
And that's the one thing I liked about Final Fantasy. People didn't give a shit about lists.
Yeah. And I find it disappointing. Like, it's good and it's bad, right? Because it's good in that I sort of know what people are running in their decks. As soon as I run into them, I'm like, this combination of, it's like Demacia Ionia with Zed and Fiora. Oh, look out for fucking standalone monks, right?
Yeah.
You pretty much already know what's in the deck list. But then, one thing that I really like coming into a fresh new set and playing like the second the game comes out is just like people like just buying a hodgepodge of cards and throwing them together and seeing like what interesting ideas people come up with. So I don't mind losing against people when they like wow me and I'm like, oh wow, that's really interesting what you did there. But then if I'm just like, oh yep, here's another Karina Control, here's another standalone Monk Zed, here's another whatever, right? That's one thing that's annoying about the game, but I mean, quite used to it after Dragon Ball season, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, like,
getting back to the boats.
On paper, this Leviathan's fine.
It doesn't turn on until turn 8, right?
Till turn 9, because like the following night, the following turn. See, like, the question is, like, how do you drag games out that long? You need to be healing, because it's like too much burn and just letting through attacks that eventually just get chipped down to a point where you just like die.
But like, Noxus isn't like a... Like, even if you look at Swain and the way like Swain is worded, what his level up condition is, the fact that he has even fearsome and like his effects, this is a guy that sort of wants to win when he hits the board, right? This isn't a guy that wants to wait around until you summon an 8-cost boat.
Yeah.
Like, it all seems very counterintuitive. And like, Noxus is not infamously known as a deck that as a region that wants to stall out games really long.
Yeah, it's like if you had the capacity to stall the game out by then, you probably had the capacity to just win outright. So, yeah, it's kind of like, in my opinion, like the Quinn deck. It's like if you're attacking so many times with so many dudes, you've probably won. Yeah. So it's like that's why Quinn will never level up, because like, yeah, if you got to like deck with like rallies and scouts and shit, why wait for Quinn to do rallies and scouts? Might as well get that shit done, and yeah, the game's all wrapped up before she gets out there.
I'm still waiting to run into a game where I see her level up. It's still not happened yet. And I've been running into quite a bit of Quinn. It's like people actually want to play her, but a lot of people want to fool around with like Quinn and Misfortune gimmicks again, because I think Mogwai was fooling around with some stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah. So Leviathan, probably too slow and probably unnecessary. You probably have the game with Swain already. Cool. And that's it for Noxus. Haha. In summary, I'm Blister. I'm Ravenous Flock.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to maximize your chances of seeing the next video. Or if it's already out, just carry on through the playlist. We're going to Piltover and Zorn next. See you then.
Yay.